This is crazy. Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense just retweeted approvingly a video calling for women to no longer be able to vote. The video calls for women to be literally struck from the Constitution, remove language from the Constitution giving women the right to vote so they don't vote anymore. The video also calls for women to submit to their husbands, which is bad enough. But the guy retweeted it approvingly and put the quote of the church, like the big quote from the church is the quote he gave retweeting the video. He didn't say, this is disturbing. He didn't say, I distance myself from this. He retweeted a video calling for women to no longer have the right to vote and did it approvingly. Now, keep in mind the stuff this guy has done already, okay? He's going after blacks. He's going after Native Americans. He's going after women. He's going after Latinos. This is the guy who struck teaching about the Tuskegee Airmen from the Pentagon. They weren't allowed to teach anymore about the famous African-American pilots in World War II. They weren't allowed to even mention on the website of the Pentagon that one of the guys at Iwo Jima Memorial was a Native American, he was an Indian. They weren't even allowed to have a map on the Arlington National Cemetery website to tell people where to find the graves of blacks and Latinos and other minorities because the cemetery was segregated. They hid their graves. So there was a map saying, okay, here's where you can find these guys that we sickeningly hid all these years. This is the kind of crap this guy has been doing. And now he's tweeting favorably a video calling for women to no longer have the right to vote in America, and he's Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense. This is sick, what is going on. 6 months into this presidency, folks, and this is the kind of crap we're already dealing with. Absolutely sickening.
They told us that we were overreacting. And then the Secretary of Defense, somebody directly under the President of the United States, posted this on X.
Women are the kind of people that people come out of. It doesn't take any talent to simply reproduce biologically.
Wilson says in his vision of a Christian society, women as individuals shouldn't be able to vote.
There are some who have gone so far as to say that they want the 19th Amendment repealed.
I would support that. And I'd support it on the basis that the atomization that comes with our current system is not good for humans.
Now, go ask your fucking grandma what life was like before she could vote, open a credit card, or buy a house. Women were emotionally, financially, physically, and sexually abused behind closed doors with fucking nowhere to run to. And that's exactly what these fucking insecure motherfuckers want. Because they can't keep a woman happy without dominating her. If you have to take away women's rights in order to feel like a man, then you were never a fucking man to begin with. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that this shit is exactly why I started my social media account. This fucking reason right here. Over my rotten corpse will some stupid fucking be able to dominate my daughter. This is America, baby. Land of the free. And if you don't like it, then get the fuck out.
There are some who have gone so far as to say that they want the 19th Amendment repealed.
I would support that. And I'd support it on the basis.
Yeah, so people in Trump's administration want to take voting rights away from women. And this is Pete Hegseth, he's Trump's Secretary of Defense. And he literally reposted a video that says women's voting rights should get taken away. By the way, this guy in Trump's administration has a lengthy history of SA. So it's kind of funny how he thinks his worldview is better than yours and that he should be able to force it on you and also take away voting rights away from women. Yeah, dude, you're like the last kind of person that God would ever like, but okay. If you're a woman and conservative, literally what are you doing? Because the end goal of the politics that you support is to like literally throw you in a kitchen and to just like use you for birthing children. That's literally how they view you. I don't know why you support that. If you are not a straight white Christian man who supports Christian nationalism, gross, you don't benefit from these kinds of politics. Like, why are you supporting this?
Between the fall of Roe v. Wade, more Gen Z men leaning conservative than prior generations, and these fun opinions by literal government officials, I wonder why the birth rate continues to fall.
This is a message for every married woman in the sound of my voice. Married women, the right to vote is being taken away from you in the United States of America in 2025. The Republicans just passed, I think they call it the SAVE Act, which says that married women in order to register to vote, must show their birth certificate, not marriage license, not divorce, nothing but passport or birth certificate. They were asked to amend the bill to at least add that a marriage certificate or court divorce papers would be accepted, and they rejected that. They don't want women to vote. Do you get that? Do you get that? We are right now in imminent danger. If you do not have either a passport or a birth certificate, or preferably both, get them now. Write to your state to get a copy of your birth certificate. Try to get a passport before they destroy the passport office. I'm telling you, don't kid yourself and say, well, I'm already registered to vote, well, so I don't need it. I'm a married woman, but it doesn't affect me. Yes, I changed my name to my husband's name, but it doesn't affect me. Believe me, that's the law now. Next Congress, next week, the law will again be amended to say everyone must re-register to vote. Every person in the United States eligible to vote must re-register. So get them now. Get several copies of your birth certificate now. Get your passport now. Put them in a lockbox in a safe place now. You will need them. They are ripping the vote away that our grandmothers, great-great-grandmothers fought so hard to get. This Republican Party wants to strip the vote away from all of us. They only want the man of the family to vote. They've said so. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to read into their reasons. They have said that. Project 2025 has said it. The Vice President of the United States has said it. There should be a family vote cast by the father, the husband. We're beyond being in danger. We are now open to active harm. Protect yourself today. Do it today. Do not wait.
The devil works fast, but Donald Trump works faster. Congress is trying to pass the SAVE Act, which will drastically affect women's right to vote, and they're covering it up in plain sight. I'll explain more of that in a second, but first, let's set the stage. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, also known as the SAVE Act, has been reintroduced by Trump's MAGA team in the U.S. House of Representatives. This legislation would require all Americans to prove their citizenship in person by presenting documentation when registering to vote or updating their voter registration. But here's the catch. In order to prove your citizenship, that would mean that most Americans have to either present a passport or a birth certificate. Sounds easy enough, right? Wrong. One, the reality is that over 140 million Americans don't even have a passport. Two, the 69 million women who changed their last name when they got married no longer have a birth certificate that matches their legal name. These 2 points make millions of women ineligible to vote. So why does this matter? Aside from the obvious reasons, they're disguising this as a way to protect elections when in reality, it overrides the Constitution and disproportionately affects women. Not to mention, there is zero proof that non-citizens are even voting in elections. So what's the real goal here? Do I have to spell it out for you? Suppress female voters. They're presenting a solution to a fake-ass problem, but all it really does is ensure that less women vote.
I find it concerning the lack of discourse and knowledge about Pete Hegseth sharing a video in which the head of this organization is saying that women should not be able to vote. And the executive in this video is saying, well, women should be able to vote through their head of household as it's a family. And so the man will make the final decision. And, you can have the discussion in household, but you'll vote as a family and your husband will cast that vote. I find that very concerning that a high-ranking person within our government is sharing and supporting such a video, and there's just so many other things going on that we are entirely looking over this, when this is in fact very concerning rhetoric. In addition to that, in this video, he says that women are just the kind of people that have people, and it doesn't take any special talent. It's just biological, in which the interviewer brings up the fact that that is ultimately just viewing women as a vessel. I want to encourage you to look up the video and watch it for yourself. It is on Pete Hegseth's X account.
I was supposed to be having a really relaxing weekend break, but the misogyny never ceases, so here we are. Pete Hegseth, you know, the outspoken evangelical with white supremacist tattoos whose only qualifications for his current role as Secretary of Defense is being a Fox News pundit who flatters Trump and being too hungover for critical thought. Yeah, that guy just promoted a clip calling for women to lose the right to vote and to submit to men.
In his vision of a Christian society, women as individuals shouldn't be able to vote. His fellow pastors Jared Longshore and Toby Sumter agree.
In my ideal society, we would vote as households. And I would ordinarily be the one that would cast the vote.
There are some who have gone so far as to say that they want the 19th Amendment repealed.
I would support that.
Before we dig into it, to those who thought I was alarmist last year, talking about the concerted effort laid out in writing in Project 2025 to curb back women's rights, I have some thoughts for you. This Pete Hegseth thing, well, it just seems like, oh yeah, he's crazy. We already know he's a misogynist and a white supremacist, blah, blah, blah. It is important. This isn't just some fringe right-winger just like retweeting Elon Musk constantly. This is a cabinet official with control over the US military, shaping our policies and things like that at the very top. And this isn't just happening in isolation. You take this promotion of this clip alongside a lot of the policy rollbacks on women's rights. So you've got laws making it harder to vote for women and especially women of color, cutting early voting days, purging voter rolls, things like that. Okay, so you've got on a policy level making it more difficult for women to engage in voting and democracy in the first place. This is also happening from a cultural messaging level. This can be seen as a not so subtle attempt to frame women's equality as immoral, dangerous, or like unchristian. So it feels more legitimate in the public mind. But also, while all of that is happening, research on women is just completely being cut, defunded, discredited, and just blocked. And when you're controlling data like that or completely suppressing it, you're controlling what the public and the policymakers get to know. So while it might seem like all of this is coincidental garbage, we could actually interpret it as coordinated. And while it is really bad in the US right now, this is not just an American issue. Around the world, we're seeing women's rights being rolled back under that banner of religious nationalism. As I talk about all the time, every time women kind of gain 2 steps and we make some progress, maybe get a little bit of power in government or something like that, there's a huge backlash. And that backlash tries to sound moral, inevitable, in some cases even, holy or religious. So I just want everyone to be very, very careful and very wary of how they try to weaponize this kind of messaging to make their opinions and actions seem like the only option, to make it seem like it makes sense. What I'm saying is basically don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Pete Hegseth doesn't think that women should vote. Again, Pete Hegseth thinks that women should not be able to vote. He thinks that that we should be voting as households and that the man of the households should be casting the vote for the household. He retweeted that. He's not the only one in the government that thinks this. You guys need to be sounding alarm bells. You guys need to be freaking the fuck out. We need women in the streets right now.